Hi there. This exercise is to help you come up on your own with some catchy phrases, headlines that you can use to talk to your customers or to write to your customers. I'm using a tool here on screen called MindMup. It's a free online mind mapper. So mindmup.com. That's mindmup.com. You don't have to use this. It's just a mind mapper that I particularly like. Okay, so the way you're going to do this, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put a primary benefit of your product or your service. That's your starting point, a single primary benefit. I spoke with a guy who cleans carpets the other day, and he had a brilliant benefit that he talked about. That benefit was that you can roll around on the carpet with your grandkids without worrying about dirt. Now, he also talked about a feature of his service. He talked about how they clean from the bottom of the fiber up. But you know what? People don't care that you clean from the bottom of the fiber up. They care about a benefit to them. They care about the fact that they can roll around on the carpet with the grandkids without worrying about the dirt. So make sure when you're taught when you write this primary benefit that it's something that the customer gets out of your product or your service. It's not something you do for them. It's something they get. Benefits and features are very, very different. Make sure you keep that straight. All right, so the next thing you're going to do, you're going to make 8 different categories. The first category is meta values. And by the way, I need to say I got this exercise from a terrific marketer by the name of Jon Benson. So kudos to him for this. This is his work, not mine. The first thing you're going to do, the first category is your meta values. Now, meta values are values that everybody shares. So the first thing you need to do is think about what those values are that all of your customers share. These are things like self-direction. Everybody values self-direction, stimulation, hedonism, achievement, power, and hedonism, I should back up. Everybody values pleasure or gratification of themselves. Security, conformity. I got these definitions online. I Googled for common values or something like that. I don't remember. So you need to find it. You need to make a list of values that everybody has. And then from that, you talk about how your product or your service relates to that particular value. So let's say you're selling insurance. Insurance is something that might appeal to the value of security. So how does it appeal to the value of security? Well, like I said earlier, with life insurance, it removes anxiety from my mind about the future of my family. All right? And you can put as many of those as you want. Maybe something like hedonism, which can be a explosive word, but all it means is everybody values pleasure for themselves. So you're going to make yourself a list of values and then go through each of those values that people share and write as many phrases as you can think of about how your product or your service appeals to that particular value. All right, so then we move to the next step. What does the present look like? And what that means is, what does the present for your prospect or your customer look like as it relates to the things that the goods or services that you sell? Somebody who's in the vitamin supplement business, what's the present look like for your ideal customer, your ideal prospect? Well, they may be tired and always sick, and they feel fat and bloated, and they're hungry all the time. All right, so that's what the present looks like before they've gotten a hold of you, before they've used your goods or your services. Step 3, if everyone in the world had this problem, then what would the world look like? So if everyone in the world had dirty carpets, then what would it be like? Let's say we're dealing with our carpet cleaner. So if everyone in the world had these horrible dirty carpets, what would it be like? Well, it'd be like living in a pigsty. It would be like a disaster zone, a worldwide epic disaster, right? Now, you don't have to worry about how hyperbolic these phrases sounds, because your goal here is to come up with phrases that really grab your client by the ears or by the eyes, or more even better by the heart. about the nature of the problem they face and the solution you offer. That's why we're doing this. So if everyone in the world had this problem, what would the world look like? All right. Step 4, other than the prospect himself, who else is responsible for causing this problem? All right. Remember, the problem is, what does the present look like? If you're not solving a problem of some kind, then you're not going to have any customers. Everybody is solving a problem. Now, we may not think about going to a luxury resort as problem solving, but there's a problem that's being solved there. It's a problem that appeals to the person's values, whatever those values may happen to be, and they're trying to solve that problem by spending a weekend at a luxury resort. So down to step 4, other than the individual, other than the prospect you're talking to, who else is responsible for causing this problem? All right, I'm going to show you what we've already got here. This is actually really, really cool. These are samples from Jon Benson's work. He's helping someone who's in the wellness industry, I guess, and I think they were selling a food supplement. So here's a situation: who besides the prospect is responsible for his present problems? His present problems always being tired and always sick and feeling fat and bloated and all just being hungry. Well, obviously he's responsible for not taking better care of himself, but maybe there's other people who are responsible for it. Maybe it's the farmers who are using inorganic methods to grow their food and using all kinds of nasty chemicals on the food, and we're ingesting those food. Or maybe it's the doctors. Maybe the doctors just simply aren't up to date on the latest studies. Maybe it's the government. Maybe the government's mandating practices that are unhealthy. What you want to do here, the goal here is not just to get your mind spinning, not to get you really thinking deeply about this, but there's a psychological factor in play here where if you can help people feel like they're not entirely responsible for where they are, then we can take them to that place where, although this isn't entirely your fault, now that you know these problems, now that you know why these things exist, you're responsible for coming up with a solution for yourself. So that's what we're doing here. Other than the prospect, who else is responsible for these problems? All right, work through that. And again, let your mind go free. There are no wrong answers here. Just go for it. Step 5, what does success look like? Once the prospect has engaged your services or purchased your product or your goods, and what is success going to look like for them? Now, this is probably going to be the mirror image of what the present looks like. And by mirror image, I mean the exact opposite. So if he's tired, sick, fat, bloated, and hungry all the time without your product or without your service, then the ideal future is going to look like he's full of energy, he's vibrant with health, he feels lean and powerful, and it isn't always hungry. It feels good. So again, work through anything you can think of. Once the prospect has your product or is using your services, how is that going to change his life for him? How does that affect his values, his lifestyle, his life, the things he loves? How is that going to, and write those down. Step number 6. Now, this is a phrase that Jon Benson uses that I find really, really powerful. That is as if. So what that means, if you have success, then what is it like? Again, in this case, we're talking with somebody in the wellness industry who's selling a vitamin supplement. So if you've taken this vitamin supplement, then that is as if you have become like Popeye. The goal here is to create an image in the prospect's mind that's very concrete that they can attach to your product or your service. We're creating images in our prospect's mind with this question. So answer that question. Once you have partaken of my product, partaken of my services, then that is as if you have become or have gained or have whatever going on in your life. All right, step 7. What is the role model? And more specifically, once you have this product or this service, then you become a role model who is the very image of what? So again, let's go back to, for example, life insurance. Once you have this life insurance, you have become a role model for someone who's completely at peace, the role model of responsibility, the role model of caring for others. And do you see how this ties back to those original values? So you take your product, you cast your customer in his mind forward to the future. Now that he's got this product, he has become like the very epitome of something, the role model. And finally, this is a really good exercise. If there was a magic pill that created the kind of circumstances that you would like to say that your client will experience once they have your product or your service, then what would that magic pill do? These are ways to generate ideas, words, phrases about your product in ways that will appeal to your prospect's heart, not just to his mind. So take those 8 steps, and I'll back up so you have a chance to review them again. Start with your meta values, the values that everybody in the world shares, and write about how your goods or services, how your product or service relates to those values for your ideal prospect. Next, define what the future looks like for your the present looks like for your ideal prospect. They have a problem. What is that problem? And be as explicit, graphic, and real and accurate as you can be. And then take it to the next step. If everyone in the world had this problem, what would the world look like? Then, other than your prospect, who else is responsible for this terrible situation that your prospect is in, that your product or your service is going to solve for him? Next step, what does success look like once the customer has this product or service? Then what does his life look like? How is his life better? How are those fundamental values being addressed in his heart, in his mind, in his life? And then you take that is as if phrase. Once you have this, that is as if you have become or you have. All right? And once they have become this, or once they have this, then they have become at the very epitome, the role model of something. What is that something that they would be the role model of? And finally, if there was a magic pill that did what your product or service did, then describe everything that that magic pill would do. Now, maybe your goods or your products or services don't actually do these things, but these will help to stimulate your ideas and stimulate your thinking. And what you'll find as you go through this exercise, here and there, you'll come up with a phrase where you'll go, wow, that's powerful. Circle that, remember it, and use that in your next presentation.